If you've ever ordered a gaming monitor because the picture on the product page looked insane, only to find it feels flat, sluggish, or just plain underwhelming once you plug it in, you're not alone. The frustration is real. High-end specs get you excited, but the everyday experience can be a letdown if the monitor's design doesn't match how you actually play or work. That's why I'm breaking down the Lenovo Legion Pro 34 WD10, a 34-inch curved OLED that promises next-level gaming, and trying to figure out if it really lives up to the hype. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, this isn't just another 1440p panel. Lenovo is stacking a lot of premium tech into a single ultra-wide. The OLED panel gives you that deep black, near-infinite contrast that LCDs can't match, and the 240Hz refresh rate with a 0.03 milliseconds MPRT, motion picture response time, is aimed squarely at fast-paced shooters and competitive titles. But those numbers only matter if they translate into smoother motion in the games you actually sit down to play. In my own testing, I ran a few 240Hz sessions in Call of Duty, Modern Warfare and Valorant. The mouse felt instantly responsive, and the motion blur that usually lingers in those rapid turns was practically gone. The advantage was most noticeable when you're chasing a headshot. The target stayed crisp, and the frame-to-frame timing felt consistent, which is exactly what competitive players crave. That said, you have to feed that monitor what it wants. OLED shines when you have a mix of dark and bright scenes, but it can struggle with sustained static elements like a health bar or a HUD that never moves. Over long streaming sessions, those static UI pieces can start to ghost a little. If you're a streamer who leaves a constant overlay on the screen, you might notice a faint imprint after a few hours. Lenovo does include some built-in pixel shift and screen burn protection, but it's not a magic bullet. So, if you're planning to leave the same UI on for days on end, you might want to consider a high-refresh LCD instead. One of the standout practical features is the True Split technology. It lets you divide the 34-inch real estate into independent zones, each with its own input source. I used it to run my PC on the left half while my Xbox Series X occupied the right. Switching between the two was as seamless as pressing a button on the monitor's OSD, and there was no need for a separate KVM box. For anyone who works from home and wants to keep a laptop and a desktop side by side, that split functionality is a genuine time saver. It also works well for content creators who need a reference monitor while editing video. On the other side, the colors stay consistent across both zones because it's the same panel. Connectivity is another area where the Legion Pro tries to differentiate itself. The USB-C port delivers up to 90 W of power, which means you can charge a laptop and drive video over a single cable. In practice, I plugged my gaming laptop into the monitor, and it powered up, displayed a 1440p 240Hz signal, and charged at full speed without any extra adapters cluttering the desk. Add to that a 2.5 gigabits per second Ethernet port, and you have a solid hub for a tidy setup. The downside? The monitor only offers tilt adjustment on its ergonomic stand. There's no height lift, swivel, or pivot, which can be a problem if your desk is low or you need to angle the screen for different viewing positions. You'll either have to get a VESA-compatible arm or accept a fixed viewing angle. Now let's talk about HDR. Lenovo markets the display with HDR TB400 certification, which essentially means the panel can reach a peak brightness of 400 nits. That's decent for an OLED, and you'll see more punch in bright scenes compared to a standard SDR monitor. However, if you compare it to the very brightest HDR monitors out there that push 600800 nits, you'll notice the highlights aren't as blinding. For gamers who want that extra pop and explosions, it's a modest boost, not a game-changing one. For photo or video editors who need accurate HDR grading, you might find the brightness ceiling limiting. Who should actually consider buying this? If you're a competitive gamer who already runs a high-end GPU and values ultra-smooth motion, the combination of 240Hz OLED and FreeSync PremiumPro will feel like a natural extension of your rig. The curved 21:9 aspect ratio also gives you a wider field of view in racing simulators and flight games, where the immersion factor is huge. Developers and designers who juggle multiple windows will love the true split and the sheer amount of screen space without needing a dual monitor setup. And if you already own a USB-C laptop that can output 1440p, you'll appreciate the single cable convenience. Who should walk away? First, anyone on a tight budget. This monitor sits in the premium price bracket, and you'll need a graphics card that can push high frame rates at 1440p across an OLED panel, think RTX 3080 or higher for most modern